another continuation of taking a broad analysis. So basically, the idea is we're just gonna pick apart different aspects of this particular book. Um, and I'm gonna be completely honest here. I know some people think I'm trolling or whatever, but I unironically do like this book. It's one of those things that's like so bad that is actually like good and you enjoy it. Like, it's just like really bad like horror movie or comedy. It's like a blend of a really bad horror and comedy like combined. So that you know I do find it like unironically hilarious. Just all the random shit that happens in it. And, I mean, the premise of the book is kind of generic, but it's also one of those things it's one of those things that had a lot of potential as a premise. And more capable hands, it could have actually been a pretty interesting story. I mean, the idea of someone who's like an idealistic youth who joins the military out of like this sense of like pride and duty for their country, especially after like 9/11, which when that did happen, a lot of people kind of had this like sense of like duty and stuff that they wanted to join the military because of what happened. I'm not gonna get into any of the conspiracies and stuff about 9/11 because I could go on for fucking hours about that shit. But um, you know, the idea of like being like a young man joining the military, not really knowing what you're getting yourself into, and being like completely devastated by the horrors of war that you encounter, and having mental health issues as a consequence for that. You know, it's an interesting prospect. It's just the way Lord handles things. It winds up becoming it winds up becoming a joke. Especially a lot of people are like, this guy obviously knows nothing. For someone who actually was in the military, he knows nothing about the military. It's very it's a very strange it's a very strange thing. I think someone who spent like 2 years in the Air Force would know a little bit more. I mean, you think maybe someone who's been in the Air Force for a couple years and know that there's more than just one position in the military. Not everyone is a staff sergeant. For one, like, why is everyone in this book a staff sergeant? I don't fucking get it. You know, he doesn't even. Hey, what's up, McNuggets? His whole story reads like someone who idolizes soldiers, but I never even met someone in the military. Yeah, that is basically how it kind of comes off of. Like, it's just hello. I mean, this it speaks for itself. Like Aaron sees the army recruiter as the Warren tells us 1,000 times the recruiter. He sees the recruiter and is envious of his uniform and his name plaque and stuff like that. So it's kind of like what it seems like such an odd thing to like. I know it's something that like, man has never heard with this thesaurus. I swear. Yeah, I I can definitely see that. It's weird because um that definitely speaks to Lauren because he always talks about like idolizing like everyone he sees basically, and it's kind of like why would you do that, dude? It's just regular people. Like the fact that he did that with his siblings. And he's like, I can't get my mac and cheese, my meatballs, or my deviled eggs. My siblings screw me over. Like, um, that's a very questionable thing anyway, because he told them, oh, if you want to give me a present, you can get me this. and they didn't give him a present. That's not being screwed over. Um, yes, like how's it somehow his siblings' fault? That's I wish there's a way we could like interview his brothers and his sister, because imagine being them, dude. Like your asshole brother who looks like Uncle Fester or some shit gets caught trying to fuck a teenage girl. Lawrence passive aggressive and didn't get what he wanted for meatballs, and those just allude to it, Uncle. you know, um, okay, so he gets caught trying to molest the little girl. You know, basically what the worst thing you could possibly do. It doesn't really get much worse than that unless they're like get even younger. You know, like if you go, I don't know, Kevin Spacey start doing shit to babies and whatever. Uh, that's the only way it gets worse, right? Um, so he does like the worst thing you could possibly do. Gets caught, is on national television, and then he has the audacity to go before the entire world on the internet and blame you for it. Be like, oh, well, um, they didn't give me mac and cheese. So because I didn't get my mac and cheese, I like went temporarily insane. I blacked out, got demonically possessed, and the demon took my body over to Bowling Green, Kentucky, where I got caught up in the sting and arrested. Like if you hear him talk about the sting, Lord makes it sound like he's walking his dog down the street, and like Chris Hansen and like the police like grabbed him and threw him into the house and just threw a chat log on the table, labeled him a child molester, and arrested him. Like the way he makes shit sound, it makes it sound like he's just minding his own business, and they just saw him and wanted to turn somebody into a victim. It's the meatball panic defense. Yeah, that's that's a good way of putting it. You know, he doesn't have the Johnny Cochran Chewbacca Chewbacca defense. He has the meatball panic defense. You know, it's just hella funny. It's, you know, he does fucked up shit and it's always someone else's fault. And Aaron is the same way. You know, you read this book, and forever, for whatever reason, everyone is babying Aaron. I don't get it. As I was discussing it yesterday, you hear he has a sister, an older sister, and a younger brother. And Aaron's only supposed to be 19 or 20, so that means his younger brother is maybe 18 at the oldest. So his younger brother is a teenager. But from what you hear about Brady, you only hear he has a girlfriend and he lives by himself. So his teenage brother is doing better for himself than he is. And his self-insert 100%. It's just like Jordan's stories. They just write about their own fantasies. Yeah. He is like Warren, less fucked up than him, but he is an idealized version of Lauren, right? And it's weird because I was talking I think with Cyber about this, but like Joron, like he he has like these fantasies that is like Joron the Barbarian. And he gets his genies and stuff like that. He's like supposed to be some badass, which everyone knows he's not. He's about as boring and corny as they come. But it's weird because like Lauren's greatest fantasy is to just be like, I guess, a normal person with like a normal life. He just wants like a quiet life. Jorah's fantasies dreamt up online or in his mind. Yeah, pretty much. Um, it was like Lauren's greatest fantasy is he just wants like what most people have, but he's like too fucked up that he can't get something like that. You know, he's so childish he can't get a relationship, and because he's so childish, he tries to go after actual children because that's the only people who can fucking I I guess get away with that shit with. And thankfully that didn't work out for him. But it's just like Yeah, it's weird. I guess I guess we say Aaron's Yoshikage Kira here because he goes from he just wants a quiet life, but he can't stop killing people. So that's my weird little assessment there. But yeah, there's a lot of there's you know Aaron. The thing is like what I'm saying here is like Lauren. It's his book. Damn, damn, Lauren can't have a healthy relationship with this fantasy woman. Yeah, I mean, well, I guess to like the very end, he's just kind of like it's all Hallmark Channel, and then he tries to kill her because you ran me out to the police. Brooke, you betrayed me. You're now the enemy. Like it's it's hella weird, like how that shit happens. But I mean, it's so much shit. Uh, oh man. It's just funny because like it's his book and it's this self insert. He could have done like a Joro comedy type shit. He could have made his character like fucking Superman. You know, he saves the day. Everyone loves him. He has a fantastic personal life. He's wealthy, full head of hair, but he doesn't. He goes for like the mundane. He goes for the very trivial, like normal. Like he somehow turned war very boring and mundane. It makes talking about coffee and food more interesting than like actual gunfights with terrorists and shit like that. Like, get that Taliban out of our fucking lives. I wish Aaron would have said that shit. Just be like, get the Taliban out of our fucking lives. Lord has no imagination. Yeah, that's true. He doesn't. He the only time he has an imagination is when he thinks you're cheating on him. And then he comes like the most I mean, he thought what Ramona was gonna cheat on him with her cousin because oh why can't you go with a girl? Why can't you go with your female cousin? Why does it have to be a guy? Why do you have to have guys around you all the fucking time? And then, oh, what? He thought Ramona was gonna cheat on him with the doctor's 10-year-old nephew. So, so he thought Ramona was just gonna molest this little boy. Like, what the fuck, Lauren? That's another thing. Lauren likes to project he likes to project himself onto everyone else. He has Chris Chan syndrome, where he's just like, I fear every other guy. They're a threat to me. They're competition and stuff like that. It's like, dude, if you're just yourself, and you just like focused on, trying to be a decent person, then the other guy wouldn't be competition. There's always going to be somebody who's better than you at something. There's always going to be someone who's better looking or has more money, is more successful, could lift more than you, is more intelligent, or something. There's always going to be somebody like that. But just because someone like that exists doesn't mean you have to hold yourself back and hold yourself down and do nothing with your life. And unfortunately, fucking Lauren, he's got that sort of mentality. He's got like that neat type personality. Um, it's very strange because he has these weird tropes about him, but his like he tries to put on like this veneer, like this gilded appearance of just be like an average Joe. Like he tries to make himself appear as like this the mask he wears, the persona he portrays to the outside world is that of like a hardworking blue collar, average, patriotic all American type thing. Like that's that's the type of guy he tries to portray. Hey, what's up, Donde? How you doing? Blessings to you as well. We mentioned your boy Joe Rogan comedy. How's the song go again? Like I just wanna hold you. I just wanna kiss you. I just wanna touch you. I forgot how does fucking Jaron does the sing talking. I don't know if you remember the lyrics, but I just remember he had like his guitar I call Joron Diet Lauren. He's like a less interesting, less funny Lauren. that's that's basically what he is. It's like, yeah, I always thought it's hilarious with Joron because he uses oh, all I wanna do is love you. okay, okay, that's what it is. Um, Joron is like he's a it's funny because he uses Lauren as the measuring stick to try to say he's a good person. That's an incredibly low bar. Basically, all I have to do is not want to touch kids, and you're already a better person than Lauren. And even he fucking fails at that. you know? Roddy, you need to learn more about Joron. He just scratched the surface. I would like to, but he's so fucking boring. Like, he's just boring and irritating to me. Um, the genie thing is about as interesting as he gets for me. But the genie thing, it pales in it pales in comparison because my boy Joseph Strickland, he wanted a big titty Yoshi, he wanted some thick Kongs. Justin RPG wanted Reshiram and the Pokemon, like those are like some that's like S tier waifu material. Uh, someone like Joron or Manda T with her wanting to like fuck goblins from Spyro and him wanting to have genies. That's really boring by comparison to wanting to be like face sat and eaten by a Pokemon. In my humble opinion. I mean, it is a little less shitty than like wanting to fuck a Sonichu, but it's not nearly as interesting. But yeah, Joron, what was I gonna say about that fool? You know, he's just like, oh, I'm better than Lauren. You want to make a Psycho C? Yeah, you might as well. I actually kind of made like my own version. So in my Chris Chan comics, I have President Peemer as a new villain for for Chris. So it's basically President Trump as like Dr. Eggman, and and he's got like a Rouge and Sally Acorn um as like his like I don't know groupies. And they wear like Xbox themed bikinis and stuff like that. And he'll tell Chris Chan like um I've annexed all the boyfriend free girls and all the China, leaving none for you to choose. And just shit like that. I just watched a mini timeline doc on Cyrex. Okay, McNuggets, to tell you about Cyrax, he's basically I'm convinced Cyrax is the son of Lauren. Cyrax is a third generation sex offender. His grandpa married his grandma when she's a teenager and he's like in his 30s. His dad raped a teenager on a bike path and spent 20 years in prison for it. Um Cyrax raped a blind boy in high school, and he sent dick pics to a decoy named Kate from Masshole Report. Um, and Cyrax's whole excuse is, I knew she was fucking trolling me, so I trolled her before she controlled me. I knew that was Kate from Masshole Report, so I was like, you know what, you're gonna try to do this shit, I'm gonna send you my infected penis. Oh yeah, his dad is really fucked up. His dad was um his dad spent 20 years in prison for rape, moved to Alaska, changed his name from Rupel Marks to Wengus Ravenwood. So he's got like a fucking World of Warcraft name. And he got caught recently by Cyrax's trolls because he likes to collect pictures of little boys forced to wear girls' clothing. And he tried to make up some bullshit excuse for it, but it's basically for his personal spank bank. Um, So there's that with fucking Cyrax's dad. As for Cyrax himself, he's just a degenerate little goblin. To put it that way. But he'll fucking shove a pen up his ass and then in his dick, and he's got an infected penis. And oh, did you visit? Did you visit his attic? Donde? Did you visit his attic? So he's like this little attic goblin, and Cyrex likes to act like because he's deformed and stuff, right? Um, it's unfortunate, but he likes to act like he's the voice for like the downtrodden and like the misfits of society and stuff like that. It's like, no, you're not, dude. You're some fucking pervert that with a skullet that inflicts cock and ball torture on yourself to fucking scare people online. um, he's basically like Gollum. I'll put it that way. He looks like Gollum for Lord of the Rings. I got on a weird tangent there talking about Lauren's son. Um, I'm convinced he's Lauren's actual son, or if not, he's Emma's test tube baby. Remember, she wanted to take Lauren's sperm and get pregnant with him. And gave Cyrex is the test tube baby that came from it. Um. Okay, so yesterday I got to the part, almost chapter when we're on chapter 9, but we're talking about Lauren, Aaron going insane here. Let's see, where were we? Chapter 9. Okay, so right here when he cuts his finger off, and she calls. Let's see. Yeah, she calls Aaron's job. So it's like the one time she calls his job, and he happens to like fucking get injured, right? And his coworker's just like, oh, he hurt himself. And he doesn't tell her the full truth. And it takes her going to the hospital and talking to the nurse to find out that he cut his finger off. So it's like this kind of like weird thing that he's like, she can't handle that type of information. Like, because you kind of, well, I guess I take that back. I did have to go to, at my old job, my finger did get cut. And my job sent me to urgent care where I had to get stitched up. The reason why that shit happened was some fucking little piece of shit kid happened to push the fucking 6-wheeler that I was cutting cardboard boxes open on. Yeah, Amber Heard got a hold of Aaron. And hey, the weird thing is, one of his victims' name is Amber, and she does stab Aaron. She fucking shanked him, and he passed out. That's the thing. Aaron doesn't even have like he doesn't even have a description. Like the coffee's got more description than he does. For all we know, Aaron could be a fucking Snorlax. All he does is eat and sleep. Even when he's trying to kill people, he's fucking passing out. Like, how lethargic is fucking Aaron? I think he'd be in better shape having been in the military. And then again, how good of shape can he be when you have? Let's see. He went on a date. He went on a dinner date. And before he went on a dinner date, he ate 2 hot dogs and popcorn. I might be Snorlax too. Hey, I feel you on that. Like, outside of work, like, when I get home from work, I'm like, oh, I just kind of need a nap. I don't get much sleep at night, so it's just, and I work graveyard, so I'm just like, I need to like sleep for an hour or some shit, and like take a shower again and get ready. That's just kind of how it be. But yeah, he eats 2 hot dogs and a bag of popcorn, And then he goes, this is 30 minutes before he goes on a dinner date. He eats a meal with Brooke, then goes to the movie theater where he's probably stuffing his face with more popcorn, soda, candy. Maybe he's eating some more glizzies. I don't fucking know. And then he comes home and his mom has leftovers for him. So he stuffs his face with ham, peas, and mashed potatoes. So between that, he ate possibly 3 or 4 meals and one evening. From dinner time to the time he went to bed. He ate possibly 3 or 4 meals worth of food. Like, what the fuck, eh? That's something I thought was peculiar too. Like, he goes to McDonald's once and he gets Burger King once, but we don't find out what he ordered. That's what I want to know, Lauren. I don't give a shit about anything else. I want to know what Aaron ate. Did he get McGriddle? Did he get a big breakfast? He must look like Wings of Redemption with all that food. Look here. Look. Listen. Hey, Aaron's gonna have to have like a Pepsi with some Wendy's chili. Every time, Lauren probably forgot what kind of foods they had at McDonald's when he's in prison. I guess that's a fair statement, but I mean, I still want to know. Did he get a McGriddle? Did he get a big breakfast? Did he get a McMuffin? Did he have coffee or a Coke? Or perhaps orange juice with his hash browns? Or knowing Aaron, he probably drank all three at the same time. Like, yes, McGriddles. Okay, McGriddles are like the one thing from McDonald's I actually like. After that, like, their lunch and dinner menu sucks ass. They're, everything they have is fucking pickle burgers. I fucking hate pickles, and they throw mayonnaise on everything. It's so nasty. I mean, he goes to Burger King too. What did he get at Burger King? Did he get chicken fries? Did he get onion rings? That would be a good way. That's a good way to say, "Hey, this is not a self-insert. This is a original character." Aaron likes onion rings. I don't like onions, but Aaron likes onion rings. You like Happy Meals? Did you get any? Do you collect the little figures they give you, like the Sonic figures or whatever they got? um, that's very important information that Lauren didn't give us. But yeah, right here, it's like his wife can't handle the truth. He cuts his finger off. Amber Heard snuck up behind Aaron and fucked his shit up. And then got Aaron, went to Twitter and said Aaron abused her and made him lose everything. You collect those Shrek cups to let paint. Oh man, I miss those. Oh, you still have those? I remember I think I had one or so when I was a kid. Fuck, Shrek. I think just a few days ago was like the 20th anniversary of the first Shrek coming out. I remember when I first saw it. So yeah, his wife can't handle the truth. I found them thrifting. They're Shrek and Donkey Cups. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, okay, I think I remember those. I know I had like one of them. I actually had some. I still have one of the action figures because I remember I had some in a box. I have like the Night Shrek when he finds like the helmet and stuff, and he fights the dragon the first time. So I still have the action figure somewhere. Yeah. I collect action figures. They don't make Happy Meal toys like they used to. Yeah, you're right. Very fucking cheap with the toys. Very fucking cheap. I collect action figures. Right now I'm collecting mostly JoJo's. So I have a big collection. I just got my Lisa action figure. I paid for her back in July of last year, so I finally got her in. So I got the MILF. Um, I have Berserk, Devilman, and some One Piece stuff right now too. The McDonald's baby beanie babies. Oh shit, I remember those. Lord's Lord's gonna think he's gonna jack those and make a fortune off your McDonald's beanie babies. You know, 30 years after, like, no one cares about beanie babies anymore. Lauren. I love that he's 30 years too late to the party. So they give him surgery. And like the way they did the way they did the surgery just doesn't seem, it seems like a little granted I've never lost my finger and had it reattached, but I mean it's kind of like slapping on. Just kind of slap his finger back on. And like, you're good to go, Aaron. Go back to work. Shit, that sounds like the type of insurance we got on my job. You get hurt on a job. Oh yeah, here's you cut your finger off. Let's just put some Gorilla Glue on it and then send you back to work. um, let's see. He starts flipping out again. He has his nightmares, which, like in my illustrated version of Taken Abroad, I have it like the ghost of Paul Pablo, who's all like decrepit and zombified. He keeps like manifesting in front of Aaron and like taunting him and being like, you know, you're the reason why I fucking died and everything. Like he basically, like, he's haunted by like specters of everyone he saw die. That's kind of like how I chose to portray it. I'm still working on that shit, but Lauren just writes that he has nightmares. So those nightmares makes him go insane. But Brooke's like, you need to go to therapy. You need to get intense therapy. Which I'm not sure what that entails. That's something like I'm gonna draw home like getting like shock treatments and thrown in a padded cell, like getting lobotomies and shit like that. Like they're basically just gonna torture the fuck out of him. Not to be taken too seriously, but it's like, you know, I kind of imagine that he's like in a really fucked up mental institution from like the 1800s or something like that. And that's why he goes more insane. But yeah, he makes like a big deal. He makes it a big deal that he has to go get therapy. So it's like he knows he has a problem. He knows he needs help dealing with the problem. He doesn't want to take help. That's the whole thing. Like, this whole book is Aaron like trying to pretend he's normal and everything's all right. Like, if I ignore my problem, it'll go away. And it doesn't. Maybe that's another theme to the book. Try to ignore your problems and it goes away, but it actually doesn't do that. Surprise, surprise. Oh, just look at all this shit right here. She made him a meal for his anniversary. What's all this for? And asked him, a smile on his face. Well, I guess you've forgotten that I met you 2 years ago on this day, Brooke answered. I'm sorry, honey. I didn't mean to forget. Aaron apologized graciously. You're a man, Brooke retorted. I expected you to forget. So I guess that means I'm forgiven? Aaron asked with hope. Yeah, this time. Just don't let it happen again, Brooke returned. Yes, ma'am. Aaron cajoled and then pulled her in for a long, passionate kiss. Like, what the fuck is this shit? It's like some fucking corny Hallmark type shit. I I expected you to forget my anniversary because you're a man. Like, what kind of, like, what kind of shit is this, dude? Like, I don't know, dude. Like, this is it's just fucking whatever. So he's been going to the psychiatrist for 6 months, and then he began getting irritated, and he snapped. They say he unintentionally snapped at Brooke, but he didn't say what he did. How did he snap at her? Did he just like yell? Did he just say something like kind of rudely? Like, what's the context here, Lauren? What's wrong? Brooke asked in astonishment. Oh no, I guess I'm just tired of going to see a psychiatrist 2 times a week. like, like what the hell, dude? He talks about like going to work on his problems like the worst thing ever. And here's another thing. He starts going. He's going to decide to go hunting. Um, that's another thing, right? So he goes hunting, right? He kills a deer, and when he kills the deer, it's like, how do I put it? I mean, first off, probably shouldn't have been going hunting because he's having PTSD and war flashbacks. So you probably shouldn't give a guy like that a gun. He goes hunting, he kills a deer. And he doesn't just kill it for food, like he like finds pleasure in killing it. It's like a weird like serial killer type moment, which of course it would harken to that. But he says he's going hunting for food. He's only allowed to kill one deer. He winds up killing 3 in this book. But for all the food talk about all the meals he has, there's no mention of him ever eating venison. There's nothing talking about Brooke preparing a meal with the deer that he killed. So does he just have this like deer in his freezer the whole time? And what about the other 2 he kills? He just killed them and left them in the woods? What the fuck, Aaron? I want to know what happened to all that venison, dude. You didn't make any jerky or like what? It's like for a book that's been basically focused on every meal he eats. Why is that overlooked? I want to know. I mean, we got talk of him packing 2 sandwiches and a thermos of coffee before he goes walking. Like, we hear about that, but we don't hear about the deer that he killed. Fucking weird. So, this is another thing. Okay, this part right here. When he takes out his journal, he starts trying to write his night notes. He wants to keep it private, so he takes a book and writes in big letters, Aaron's journal on it. Like, okay, kind of defeats the purpose of keeping it like private and hidden when you do that. What else did he do? I think this is the part when he has his coffee and he's just like, he downs like 6 or 7 cups of coffee and probably was like an hour's worth of time while going like psychotic. Like, those are things you might be like maybe having a psychotic episode from drinking too much coffee in one sitting. Like, what the hell, Aaron? Why are you drinking like 7 of those in a row? Oh shit. Talking about serial killer stuff. So first guy he kills, he shoots basically by accident. The guy asks for help. That's another thing too. I remember hearing like Tiffany, Shins Koala, Andrew Burkett, and Amanda James talking about it. Like, if you're in the woods where you know people are hunting and you hear gunshots, why would you go towards the gunshots? Why are you not wearing like your orange vest and stuff? Um, so there's that. But it's also kind of like he shoots the guy asks for help. Like, please, I'm in shot, somebody help me. And then Aaron just goes pure psychotic because he's been imagining the deer as like Taliban for some reason. And he sees the guy as a Taliban. And he pulls out his knife. He's like, "You kill enough soldiers. So now it's your time to die." And the guy's just like, "No!" And then he fucking cuts his throat and kills him. uh, so there's that. And then it's like he buries him but puts an American flag on the grave. So why even bother hiding the body if you're gonna put a giant? Well, it's not giant, but it's red and blue. White too, but very brightly colored flag that would make it stick out. You're in the forest of like green and brown and stuff like that, and you have red and blue, which would just stick out like a sore thumb. So he does that. I guess it's supposed to honor the person because on one half he's got this like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde type thing going on, that he's a psychotic serial killer, but on the other half he never meant to do it. And it's like he loses control, he becomes demonically possessed or something, and that's why he goes around killing people. As he does it, I guess he feels remorse for his actions, but he can't control himself. And rather than go to therapy and get the help he's supposed to, like he's supposed to be doing, he bitches about it and doesn't do it. So yeah, the first guy, that's what he does. The second guy, this right here always got me. Aaron drove along, not really knowing where he's going. His hands had become hot and clammy, and beads of sweat rolling down from his temple. He pulled in the parking lot of the local grocery store, turned his car off, and placed his hand on his forehead and felt the heat inside him grow. He looked up and watched a man in his mid-20s walk out of the grocery store alone. The man was about 5 feet 9 inches tall, was a slight chunky, probably 170 to 180 pounds. The glare in Aaron's eyes grew more intense. The longer he stared at the young man, Aaron began to grow angry at the man, like he had done something to offend Aaron. He watched the man as he unloaded his groceries into his car. When the man was finished, he got into his car and began to drive off. Aaron started his car, followed the man, and pulled out of the grocery store parking lot and onto the busy street. He decided to stay a couple cars behind the man so that he wouldn't get suspicious about seeing Aaron following him. The street became less busy the further they got from the stores, and Aaron became the only car left behind the man. And he goes down further, and basically he runs the guy off off a cliff. He runs the guy off a cliff. Well, I guess not really a cliff, but he off the road. And he goes, downhill, I guess. And his car crashes. Aaron goes down there. Right here. The man was climbing slowly out of the broken out driver's side window, with blood all over him from the crash. The sight made Aaron excited. He began moving towards the man and watched him slowly crawl out of the car and onto the glass covered ground, coloring it with his blood. The man let his head fall to the ground with a thud from exhaustion. He watched Aaron slowly step up to him and stare him with death in his eyes. He slowly turned himself over and held up both his hands and sputtered, "Please, no." He stopped after the word no. as Aaron's tire iron began smashing against the man's already bloody skull. Aaron's eyes grew angrier, and every hit he delivered against the man's head. Aaron stopped and realized the man was no longer able to move because he'd beaten the life out of his body. like, like this whole shit, right? In this whole part, you just see the guy minding his own business. Like, all the guy did was buy groceries and pack it in his car, and it sets him off. It's supposed to be a guy who's like thinking everyone's like the Taliban or something, and that's why he goes insane and he just seeing people as enemy soldiers, and that's why he's like stuck in this like fight mode, right? At least that's what the premise is supposed to be. But how do you see a guy packing groceries and think, oh, this guy's the Taliban or something? Maybe the first part when he's just shooting randomly, and because the gunfire like probably triggered that or something. Yeah, okay, I guess that one's a little bit more fits the bill, but this one's just like straight up serial killer thing. Runs him off the road while he's completely defenseless. He bashes his head in and just murders him. Again, he goes. He like winds up burning his clothes and stuff to try to like get rid of evidence. Buries the guy, but then he puts an American flag on his grave. Why go through all that effort to cover your tracks, and then put like a big signal flare to where this? You might as well put like a headstone where this guy was. Like, you know, same thing. And this is where things get interesting, is when he goes after Amber. He went after Amber Heard. He goes after Amber. And this is what's interesting, because it's a very different type of way he kills her. Like, you know, she feels pity for her killer as he digs her grave and makes her watch him dig her own grave. Okay? Like, what? She feels pity for him. Like, what the hell? Wouldn't actual response be like she's like worried about her child, that her daughter's gonna grow up without a mother, that she's gonna die because of some fucking psychopath? You know, this type of shit is kind of like, what the hell? Everyone pities Aaron and babies him, even his fucking murder victim. But what is interesting here too is that she does put up a fight. That's something I've taken note of. Is every male that Aaron kills, he gets them in an ambush or completely by surprise, and kills them when they're unable to defend themselves. As a guy who's already shot and already like on the verge of dying, he slits his throat. A guy that he runs off the road and crashes down the hill and is crawling out of a burning bloody car. He bashes his head, right? This one, in this circumstance with the female victim rather than the male victim, she's actually able to kind of get away for a bit. She manages to hit him upside the head and knock him out. She manages to actually stab him with his own knife. This is why I talked about fucking Snorlax Aaron passing out while he's trying to kill people. So this part right here is very telling, because it's kind of like, I mean, because we already talked about how Lorne fears men. He sees them as competition. He sees them as a threat. He doesn't believe his girlfriend could have male friends without fucking them, type thing. And, they can't have a male doctor. You can't have a gynecologist who's a man, because he'd just be having a hot on trying to fuck you. But it's like he's just doing a job and he's trying to help people. That's usually what doctors do. Generally speaking. So there's that. But yeah, she kicks Aaron's ass for most of it. And then, he manages to get a hold of her and he strangles her to death. And then, kind of out of nowhere, it wasn't really much leading to this, but he kisses her corpse. So is Aaron like a necrophiliac now or something? Like, what the fuck? That just was so weird. He didn't bother trying to do any of that when she's alive. But when she's dead, he's just like, let me comp a Phil right now. What the fuck? I mean, just look how psychotic this is. There's no way out of here, Amber. It's all woods for miles and miles. Aaron yelled. Amber, I'm gonna kill you. Aaron screamed. Like the type of shit he says to her. And but this, yeah, see, he gave Amber a kiss on her cold lips. They found she's a special person and wish he had known her in life. It's like, you fucking asshole, you killed her, you took away her life, you took away everything. Wished he had known her in life. Well, I mean, it's your fault that she doesn't have one. I don't fucking get it, dude. But yeah, he in this particular instance, he actually manages to get his ass kicked a little bit, which is something we'll see with Brooke as well. Chapter 11, it's like when he his whole excuse of I fell down a hill while looking for new places to hunt. That's another thing. He tells Brooke, I'm looking for new places to hunt. He's killed 3 deer so far. There's only mention of one that he ever brought home. There's no talk of them eating any of the venison. Or as Lord says, I just killed deer for the deer meat. No record of that in a book that's so focused on food, but there's no record of it. He goes to tell her, I was looking for new places to hunt. You think Brooke would be like, well, what happened with the other 3 deer? What happened to that? He said he hunted them. What happened to that? Anyway, he tells her that he got stabbed. She's just kind of like, what the... she feels bad for him. She tries to bandage him and stuff. And it's kind of out of nowhere. He gets mad. And she mentions, we need to get you back to therapy. And then he smacks her. He just smacks her for no fucking reason, of course. He inflicts domestic violence upon his wife. And, it's fucked up. But until this part, they didn't even have an argument. It's like the corny, generic, perfect Hallmark romance where everyone's just in their arms all day long and saying, I love you, honey. You're so special and shit like that. Which is basically Lauren's wet dream. And that was most of it. That's their entire relationship from chapter 6 to this very point. So more than half the book. They didn't have a single argument. Didn't have anything to show any sort of conflict or tension. The only thing that was said is that Aaron bitches about going to therapy. Right? So there's that. And he smacks her and he's like, I'm going to give the intense therapy this time. She watches the news, sees that a couple people are missing and dead. Well, they didn't say dead, but they're missing. She sleeps and she's like, oh, Aaron hit me. maybe he's the one who killed him because he's been gone all these nights. So it's kind of weird how she becomes like Sherlock Holmes, and she's been very oblivious to everything this entire time. It's even like you know, there's still some things that do kind of surprise me. Like she gets the locks changed on her house, right? I'm surprised Lauren would think any of that through. That's a reasonable thing to do. Oh, this guy just hit me. I don't feel safe in our home. Let me change the locks and keep him out. Okay, that's actually a reasonable thing to do. That's like something a real person might do in that type of situation. I don't think she mentions it to his mom. Or I think she mentions that he's acting weird. And his mom just kind of writes it off. She'll be like, hey, your stupid ass son hit me. You know? He's going insane. He hit me for no reason. He's talking about trying to like hurt people. You know, I don't feel safe. You know, maybe you could talk to him or something. I don't know. Because he seems like I was listening to my mom. You know, but she's like, oh yeah, she wouldn't believe me because she will take her son's side. She believes in him, and so on and so forth. So there's that. Here's another thing. She calls the police. She tells the police about, I think Aaron is going insane. He might try to kill his psychiatrist. Maybe, you know, guys be on the lookout, and the police contact Dr. Jeffs. They tell him, hey, this guy said he wants to kill you. And is he one of your patients? We could send police to patrol the area, you know, until we catch him, right? And he's just like, oh, no, that won't be necessary. I don't need to. And like, okay, make sure your door's locked and stuff. Which, of course, Aaron already picked the lock and is waiting for him in the dark. And then he guts Dr. Jeffs. Just, you know, like fucking stabs and murders him right there. And there's a few things that are really weird about this shit. Okay, for one, if the police were to call me in the dead of night and be like, hey, this psychotic ass patient of yours is out to murder you. Do you want like we're gonna send a patrol over to make sure you're safe? I'd be like, okay, by all means, thank you. You know, I'd be on high alert. I would be scared to go downstairs knowing what's going on. So there's that. You know, why does I understand the doctor's just sleepy, right? They woke him up in the middle of the night, so he's tired and kind of groggy. But if something like that happened, I'd be like, oh, what the fuck? I better be careful. And also, it says his wife was with him in bed. He goes downstairs and Aaron murders him. What happens to the wife? Does Aaron just kill Dr. Jeffs and walk out? Like, does he kill the wife too? Does the wife know what's going on? I mean, I'm sure she'll have heard him getting gutted and like screaming as he gets stabbed. Like, I mean, there's that. Aaron winds up hiding out. There's the part with the raccoons going on his car, and he starts screaming at the raccoons and flipping out. You know, there's a lot to this shit. And that's where the things start to get towards the end. So you think he'd be a wanted man and be on the news and stuff that they're looking for this guy, that he's a suspected serial killer. That the doctor actually mentions that he buried the doctor. So that means he The doctor just went missing. They don't know what happened to him, but it would be suspected that he's been kidnapped or murdered. You think there'd be something like that, like, on the news or whatever, to people will be like, oh, look out for a suspect, but he pulls up to like a 7-Eleven, gets some junk food and a soda, and eats in his car. And he decides he's gonna go out to kill Brooke, and cuts the telephone wires, breaks in through the window, is just sitting there like a complete maniac. I know you're there, Brooke, and stuff like that. You betrayed me, Brooke. You're now the enemy. I'm seeing you as the Taliban, so now I must kill you. So, he's doing that type of shit. And this is where things get interesting, because he gets in a fight with Brooke. He tries to kill her. And not only does she put up a good fight, but she actually kills him. And this is what's surprising for me, because I expected Lauren to go the route of he kills Brooke and then maybe realizes what he's done and kills himself. Like, maybe like Aaron just kills his whole family or some shit like that. Maybe Aaron escapes, right? After killing everybody. But no, he actually does get killed. He actually does get killed. He fights Brooke. He's basically beating her up. But she takes it. She takes his punches. She stabs him. Bashes his head in with a brass lamppost. And then shoots him in the chest and kills him. Then, the police arrive. And she feels bad because of, the man I used to love. And for whatever reason, they go to a funeral that has, 5 different people. Some of them are his victims. And why are they having a funeral with the murderer and his victims at the same time? What the hell? Like, what kind of world is this, Lauren? You know how insensitive that is? You have 4 random strangers who've been killed, and you're gonna have a memorial service with them and their killer. Like, what is this? It's not like they didn't know Aaron was the killer. It's not like they just thought he was a random victim too or some shit like that. It's really weird. But yeah, that sums up. That sums up, the story. Some peculiar things I thought about it. It goes from this very boring, mundane, like slice of life type story, and then just kind of out of nowhere in the last 3 chapters, he becomes like Michael Myers and Jason Voorhees, and starts killing people for the fun of it. Lauren, I want a Ticket Abroad Part 2. I want a sequel to this. Maybe Aaron hasn't really died, or Mom resurrects Aaron or something. He comes out of the grave, and she keeps him chained up in the basement, feeding him ham cubes and corn mashed potatoes, bringing him slightly chunky 5'7", 20-something-year-old guys to kill and feast upon. He's kind of like a Jason Voorhees type zombie, and he goes out and he tries to kill again. He's the American. They should call Aaron the American flag killer. Yeah, everybody kills the. He kills him with an American flag, and that could be his weapon of choice. I know, like the buck knife and stuff, and he had his tire iron, and all that other stuff that he used to kill people, but he always carried that buck knife on him. But maybe his weapon of choice could be that he carries a flagpole with an American flag, and he just like spears people with it. And when he buries them, he's just got a giant flagpole with an American flag hanging out. So it's even more obvious than before. Uh, maybe maybe Aaron Voorhees. Uh, instead of being like shh, 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 ah, 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 you can be like bye 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 bye. Maybe he goes. Maybe he goes after Brooke. You know, maybe it's like 20 years later. And he goes after Brooke and Trevor. And he tries to kill his own son, Trevor. And he's like, because of you, I got less food and less sleep than I normally would. You know, your mother was supposed to baby me, but she was babying you because you was a damn baby. He tries to kill his son because his son being born deprived him of some of his babying. I don't know, but yeah, this is part 2 of our analysis here. Yeah, just kind of just going over some of the nonsense. I mean, there's so much in this book. Like the timeline and everything's just really hard to keep track of. It's a very abstract book, which I guess part of the reason I kind of enjoy it because I'm a big fan of like the Soulsborne series, and part of the storyline is that you find like bits and pieces of the story through like dialogue and item descriptions and stuff like that. So you know, you kill a boss, you get their weapon, you read the description, and you find out a little bit of information about the boss or whatever their lore significance is. It's always very cryptic. Most of it isn't like definitive. It's very open for interpretation because it's designed in a way that you're supposed to fill in the gaps of the story. Like Miyazaki says something like he's like reading Western literature as a child, but he didn't really know English too well. So there's a lot of it that he couldn't understand. So he'd have to like try to build the story in his head because he didn't have a full understanding of the language. And that's kind of like he took that experience and wanted to make it as part of his like storytelling in his games, which is actually a really fun part of the games. And that's kind of how Taken Abroad feels. Like it's so fractured, and there's so much missing from it that you kind of build your own narrative as you read it. You get different interpretations. It's not something that's set in stone, like a Lord of the Rings or something, where you have a very definitive, well laid out world. Like there's very fantastic world building in that. Like this book is very abstract and open to interpretation, and it's like honestly like an unconscious view of how Lauren's mind operates. So yeah, this has been our analysis of the story. It was nice talking with you, with all of you, and stay tuned because I am planning on doing some sonetry readings, and that's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm not going to fucking censor it. I'm going to read the true and honest, yeah, fucked up and messed up versions that Chris wrote, not his censored versions. So I'm going to keep it true and honest for that. So stick around.